welcome to the one and only Team Zoo.
Hey guys, how are we doing? Welcome to Talking Boxing. It is Monday, June the 22nd, 2026. And what a show we've got for you tonight, because you would have seen by the thumbnail there, we have the man himself, Andrew Maloney, the new IBF 115 or super flyweight world champ. He's going to join us in about 15 minutes. So can't wait to see what Andrew has to say. Now, I'm just hoping, by the way, that this is all working properly. We had a little bit of an emergency before coming on air when I first sort of got in here, that we realised the laptop that I am hooked up to was dead flat. So I've put a few cords in, got it up to about, where are we at the moment? We're at 17% at the moment. So I'm just hoping that having all this going doesn't drain it. Just one of those things, unfortunate. But we'll see how we go. But thanks to everyone for joining in the show tonight. And obviously listening on Spotify after this. Now, the way it's going to work tonight is quite simple. Andrew's going to come on. We'll do the interview. I want as much feedback from you guys as possible. So what I'm going to do, keep the comments coming. Don't worry if you put a comment up and you think it's going to take me an hour to get to it. Don't stress. I'm going to go straight to the bottom of the comments. So if you put a comment in now, I'm going to see it. And then we can rattle them off to Andrew as we go. And then what I'll do, I'll go back to the first people that commented, and we'll go through all the non-Andrew related questions. So again, just let me know, guys, if this is not working that well. I'm assuming it is. I've got a few thumbs up there. No thumbs down yet, but that's to come. Don't worry. There's always someone that doesn't like the content. So what I'll do, I might even actually go through a couple of comments before Andrew actually comes on. But again, put all your questions, comments, whatever it might be, to Andrew in the chat now. And when he comes on, I'll go straight to the bottom, and then we'll go back to the top of the questions once he's gone, and we go to the normal line of questioning. So it's interesting. I've got a few things I'd like to, looking forward to asking Andrew tonight, because I think we've all seen about 20 interviews so far with him. He's done the rounds, as he should. Strangely enough, though, the only place I haven't really seen anything about Andrew is where it counts, and that is the mainstream media. I'm sure someone's got that on there as a question or a comment, whatever. Actually, might ask Andrew a little bit more about it later on when he comes on, what he thinks. I know he's a very, very humble guy. I know he'll just play the straight bat and say, oh, yeah, it's all good, but I want to hear what he has to say. I'd be pissed if I was him, and I'm probably going to want him to say it. I would like him to say that he's pissed. And Peter Bedell, now, if you're in the chat tonight, I know you watch the show occasionally, doing a great job with the Liam Paro fight week, I will say. I'd like to hear your comments. If you want to come on the show tonight, actually, I'm not sure whether I've got the ability. I think I do actually have the ability to have a couple of guests. So if you want to come on tonight, explain yourself to Andrew Maloney, I'd love to have you on. So if you're in the chat, make yourself known. I'll send you the link and you can come on. We want some questions answered. But all things considered, guys, all jokes aside, as I'm sure you guys are really proud of what Andrew's done, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what he has to say, as well as answering the questions that you guys have got. I'm just going to go down to the bottom there. All right, so I think there's a couple of questions I can see there, I think. What we'll do, all right, we'll go through a couple of questions. What about 10 minutes before Andrew comes on? So I'll start the process, but as I said, once he does come on, I'll go to the bottom. All right, we'll start with Ryan up there. These are in no particular order, by the way, guys. Apologies about that again. What do you got there, mate? Hey, mate, good to see Danny Green being part of the commentary on Main Event. He's doing a really good job. Go, Liam. Yeah, I actually commented about that this morning, Ryan. He knows his stuff, Danny Green, and what I like about him is he tells it from a boxer's point of view. Now, we all have our own ways, I suppose, of describing things and looking at things and having our own perspective, but and Megan excuse me, Megan Barnard does a really good job as a host. Peter Bedell does a really good job as a special comments. But to have an actual boxing guy up there and someone with the background of Danny Green, it's just fantastic. So it's really good to see his comments, his input, and just digging a little bit deeper than maybe someone that hasn't sort of been at that level might be able to get to. So yeah, no, I really like the way he talks. Ryan, this is Danny Green. And I'm assuming he's going to be doing the job on Wednesday night. So, yeah, looking forward to that. He hasn't really done a lot with Main Event over the journey, has he? He did do a little bit back in the day. I remember he did the Jeff Horn, Manny Pacquiao fight back in 2017, but haven't really seen a lot since then. And I like it. I think there should be more of it. Don't worry about flying out Sean Porter and Paulo Malignaggi if it's not needed. I get it. They'll be out for Tim Tszyu. That's a big fight. But this is still a world title fight. But having a homegrown fighter and commentator, expert, whatever, as Danny Green is, being great, mate. And I'd like to see a bit more of maybe Jeff Horn as well. I think he does a really good job. I'm sure George Kambosos would be good as well. Maybe they could get Jai Pataya on, although he is with the opposite camp. We'll see. What do you got there, Ada? Just a comment coming up there. All right, I'll get to that a little bit later, mate. The rundown of the fight. Yep, we'll definitely go through all of that. A few different comments there. Hang on, we'll go through a few. Big J's there. Rayleigh Frame. I'll get to your comment next, actually, Rayleigh. Evening all. Looking forward to Liam Paro versus Crocker. Both humble fighters. Crocker quietly confident, even though he's the champ. Hope Liam gets the win. Psychology. And where's the rest of that comment there? It's gone missing there. That's all good. All good. Look, it should be a great night, Rayleigh. They are both humble. Look, I was going to comment more about it tomorrow on walking boxing, but I just think they've harped on a little bit too much. And this probably includes Danny as well, who's probably gone a little bit too much about it. The whole him going back to being the underdog thing, I don't sort of buy that. I just think he's a quiet, humble guy who's just confident within himself and doesn't really need to project himself or puff the chest out. And that's one probably thing I thought that Danny Green might have maybe been able to understand a little bit more, in that you don't have to be brash and outspoken to be quietly confident. And I think all he said is that it wouldn't surprise him if he's seen as the underdog because of having to come to Australia and everything else. It's a 50-50 fight, you would think, and then coming to Australia would maybe swing it a little bit Liam Paro's way. And I think that's what he was more getting at, rather than, well, I'm just the underdog, I'm not a confident fighter. I think of course he is. And I really liked the way that his trainer spoke today as well. And I think he's the type of guy that would instill a lot of confidence into his fighter. So I don't really buy into that at all about this underdog thing, and he hasn't got confidence in himself. And I mean, he's a world champion. He's just beaten Paddy Donovan twice. Controversial circumstances, I know, the first one. But why would he have any other reason to not doubt himself? I mean, he is the world champion. Yes, he's coming to Australia, but he's got the belt. He's been a very, very good fighter over the journey. So that's probably one thing I disagree with the guys on the panel, including Danny, about. So anyway, we'll see. Now, I'm going to bring Andrew here in a sec. We'll have to allocate him where are we? Oh, hang on. No. There's Andrew there. I've just got to allocate you a camera there, mate. Hang on a sec.
Yep.
Oh, hang on. I just cut him off. Hang on. I just cut him off. Oops. He'll come back in. Sorry about that, Andrew. Where are we? Sure, he'll come back in. There he is. All right. Apologies about that, Andrew. I'll bring you on in a sec there, mate. Where are we? Put him in the chat room number 1 there. All right. So, I'll comment a little bit more about that later, guys, with Liam Paro and Lewis Crocker after we have a chat with Andrew. Now, hope this works. Andrew, can you hear me, mate?
I got you, mate.
Good
Can
stuff.
you hear me okay?
Yeah, mate, all good. Sorry about that. I hit the wrong button. I was going to give you a camera and just hung up on you, so I apologise about that.
All good. No worries at all.
Mate, thanks very much for being on the show. We've got a lot of people with comments in there and questions for a little bit later. Mate, now, look, I'm going to start. First of all, thank you. I know you've been extremely busy. I saw you at the fights, the press conference today. You got your IBF belt, which must be fantastic after coming back from Japan.
there it is. Pumped to finally get my hands on it. It's I still think it's pretty silly how you don't get to come home with it when you win it, but luckily I didn't have to wait too long, and yeah, it's good to finally get my hands on it. It's a
So,
beautiful thing.
so how does it actually work, mate? So on the night, does the champion give you the belt to sort of loan, or do they have a standing one? How does it work?
So the champion brings his belt obviously to the
Yeah.
fight, but you win on the night. They strap it around your waist, and then I hadn't even got back to the change rooms yet, and I was getting stitched up, and they were asking for the belt back to give it back to the champion. And I was like,
You
come
never
on,
make
give
it back
me.
to the change rooms.
Yeah, but don't worry, we argued our point, and we were staying at the same hotel as Willaboldo, so we said, look, we're not going to wreck it. We'll give it back to him tonight. Just give us our moment. Um, so yeah, we got to hold on to it for a little bit longer, and got some photos with the team and everything, and then actually pulled up to the hotel, and he was out the front, so had a chat to him, and thanked him for the opportunity and gave him his belt back. But then it's strange. Then you walk, you come home empty-handed, and everyone wants to see your world title,
At
but
the
you don't
airport,
have it.
yeah.
It's a strange way they do it, but that's how it is. It's how it has been for many people.
Yeah.
Unless you win a vacant title, you pretty much come home without the belt and have to wait sometimes a couple of months.
Well, I
Um,
remember Andrew had his in. Jason had his in Las Vegas after he won because that was obviously a vacant belt.
yeah, vacant title. So, yeah, I think it's silly. They should really have one there. If the challenger wins, that they can then go home with. Um, they're not personalised, so they can if the belt doesn't change hands, they could always just give it, save it for the next fight. But yeah, it's a silly way they do it. But I'm thankful I haven't had to wait too long. Pretty much because Paro's fighting for an IBF belt this weekend. This week that the IBF is in town, and they bring one for me. So yeah, very happy.
Good stuff, mate. Now, the first real question I'm going to ask, I've seen about 10 interviews you've done so far. So I'm not going to ask you how you feel because I know how you feel. I'm sure all our viewers know how you feel. I know you're stoked and over the moon and everything else. I get that. So I'm not going to ask you again because I think the answer is pretty obvious. But what I want to do is set the scene. I want to go back to 20. Hang on, I think it was 21 or 20. You lose to Joshua Franco. The following year, you go back for the rematch, and one of the most controversial moments in Australian boxing history, the infamous headbutt that caused the eye to swell, ruled no contest. You then fight him for a third time, didn't go your way. It's where to now. You work your way back to a world title opportunity at Las Vegas, massive card, Haney Lomachenko against Junto Nakatani. I think it's stating obvious that it was a devastating loss for you on the night. And being over there, I saw it firsthand, so believe me. Then you work your way back. I know this is a long-winded question, by the way, but hang with me. You then work your way back.
If there's a bit of noise, that'll calm down in a second.
It's all good. I was just going to ask you what's going on there. You got your babysitting tonight or something, are you? Or?
No, I just ducked into the gym because I thought, here the kids won't be making too much noise, but all the boys are leaving and they're making a lot of noise. But
no stress. All right, so we fast forward to 2024. The George and Loma undercard. You lose again I'll say it's devastating fashion, not as bad as Nakatani this time. It's the split decision loss in a fight that me and a lot of Aussie fans and worldwide fans thought you won. You have we'll call it retirement in the ring. You don't know where you're going to go to. You obviously change your mind. You come back at the end of the year. Obviously, I'm assuming to maintain the ranking and everything. That was the fight at the Melbourne Pavilion. You then have the fight scheduled in Mexico for the world title eliminator. We won't even go over the drama of that because we'll be here all night, and I'm sure having you describe exactly what happened over there with date changes, venue changes, all this sort of stuff. Then you have to go to Fiji at the end of the year just to maintain the ranking. You finally get the shot against Willabaldo Garcia, or Baldo. Is it Willabaldo or Willabaldo? Willabaldo?
not sure, to be honest.
Whatever. Garcia.
Yeah.
They then try and move heaven and earth to get you to take the step-aside money, but you hold your ground. You take on Garcia. You win the fight. You've got that IBF belt around your waist. what are the feelings that sort of come to mind with that whole journey, the ups and downs, and does it make it a little bit sweeter now that you got that belt around your waist after being through all that?
Oh, there's no doubt looking back now that everything I've been through has made this so much sweeter. And I almost feel, grateful in a way that I had to go through the things I went through, because there's no way it would be as special as it is right now if it came easy, or I didn't have to go through as much as I've had to go through. Like, it's really tested me a lot. And I was very close on multiple occasions to calling it quits. And I guess almost felt like maybe this is just my story, is that I'm just the unlucky bloke that just, should have been world champion multiple times, and it didn't go my way. And I just, yeah, I guess felt like maybe that was my story, but I was just determined to not let that be the case. And I kept focused. I've been, I don't know where this drive came from, if I'm honest. Like, I just had in my head that I wanted to be world champion so bad. And, to me, like, there's some people that don't count the first world title that I won because it was a regular title.
Explain
and
that, mate. Explain how that happened. You got the interim title, then you were elevated.
Yeah, well, I guess, a little bit of politics in the sport. Like, I was in a mandatory position. I went over to Chile and won a world title eliminator over there. Again, had to overcome adversity over there. They were trying to rip me off as best they could. I slipped in the ring that night. There was not even a punch thrown, and they gave me a count. And
I remember.
The alarm bells were going off, and luckily I knocked Gonzalez out in the 8th round, and they gave him about a 35 count, but he couldn't continue. So I felt I'd worked my way into the position to fight for a world title, and I guess Chocolatito Gonzalez was the biggest name in the division at that point, and he decided that he wanted to fight for the WBA world title. So somehow in he goes above, in front of me, and fights. Kaliafai was the champion at that time, and he fights him for the title. And we argued, well, we're in the mandatory spot. We've won an eliminator. It's this isn't right. So they said, oh, I will give you an interim world title. They'll then fight a month later for the super title, and you'll be elevated to regular world champion. Which you're never going to knock that back. It still was a massive moment in my career, and I still felt a lot of relief because I felt like, I knocked off that goal of being world champion. And to me, I did what I had to do as a fighter, and I won the fight that was for the world title, and I still felt like a world champion. But there's a lot of people that don't count the belt.
It's a common thing, though, isn't it, Andy? It's a common thing. It happens pretty much every month in boxing, doesn't it?
Happens all the time. Like, yeah, I mean, you got Gervonta Davis, for example, has won, I think, 4 or 5 regular titles, and some people call him a 5-time world champion, and some people argue that he never really won a legit title. Or so yeah, for me, I guess I'd spent my whole life dedicated to being world champion, and sacrificed everything, and my whole life has just been on that chase. So in my mind, I still felt like there was that asterisk there, and some people hadn't counted that world title. So that has kept me driven for years now, is the fact that I don't want any question marks around it. I want to knock this goal off the list. And yeah, so many setbacks along the way that you mentioned, and some that haven't even been, out there in the public. Like, there's just, this game really tests you. There's been so many, I guess, promises and things that just, like an example, like I was a day away from fighting for the WBO world title against Cafu when he had the title, the South African, and again, a fight that I really felt I was going to win, and we were in negotiations. It was done. We'll send you the contract tomorrow. You're that, I guess, excited about what's coming, and then Eddie Hearn got in the middle, and Bam got the fight against Cafu, and your heart shattered, and there's just so many disappointments along the way, and yeah, so many times where I almost gave up hope, but I had this drive in me that I needed to become world champion. I needed to win another world title to accomplish the mission that I'd set out to my whole life. And so many people have helped me along the way that I felt I needed to do that for them as well. But people like yourself, Lyndon, that have really backed me and believed in me, invested in me, and I wanted to do it not just for myself, but for everyone who's been on the journey. And the relief when I had my hand raised
Well, tell us
on.
about it. Tell us about. I think there's a question there actually about. There you go from Ado. Please ask how he felt as the cards were being read out, particularly after all the adversity he's faced, and they were in Japanese. I'm listening, trying to, like you probably were, and the team, the words, trying to decipher it. What was going through your mind as they were being read?
Well, I guess firstly, like the amount of pressure that was on me that night, not just to be, to accomplish a lifelong dream, but also as it's been publicised, I knocked back a lot of money, like, life changing money to have this fight. When over the last 2 years, I've lost money boxing over the last 2 years. So financially, there was that on the line, but also at 35 years old, I felt like this was my last roll of the dice. If I didn't win this fight, it was basically all over. So there's so much added pressure, on my shoulders for this fight that the relief, and I guess I've never been so nervous in my mind to answer that question, waiting for that scorecard, particularly because it was in Japanese and I couldn't quite understand what was going on, but I understood that I won the scorecard on the first judge's card by one round. And I don't know if there's any order to it, but in my mind, whenever you hear the person read out first, normally they're not the winner, or
That's
that's
what I thought too. Yep.
a split decision or a majority, or even a draw. The other, and a draw, I wouldn't have got another opportunity. He would have kept his belt. So when they read it out, I've never been so nervous in my life. I felt like I was going to be sick. And then when they said Moroni and raised my hand, I just
well, we could all see, and I actually commented on my video the next day, is that rather than, I know there's the obvious elation and excitement and everything else, it just almost seemed like a volcano exploding with all the emotions and everything you'd been through, just gush, and relief and everything just all pouring out in one. And I know, as I said, you were obviously excited and emotional about it, but I saw a guy who was just like, was mentally pretty much shot, and it was just a release of everything that had come out, and especially with little Lee, that was a really touching moment. A lot of people have discussed that, and how good was that to hug the little fella in there after everything you've been through? And you got to remember, he's been through the whole thing with you, hasn't he? So, and obviously with Chelsea as well.
Yeah, and I'm going to cry now, so I'm going to try and hold myself together.
No,
but
hey, mate, let it go.
There's so much to it, but you're right. I guess one of the hardest parts for me in this camp in particular was, well, firstly, I couldn't have given anything more than I did in this camp particularly. Like, I always prepare 100%, but this one, I knew that this was it, and I shut everything off. I lived in a little, I guess we call it the bunker down the bottom of the hill at Angelo's. I lived there for 5 weeks away from my family.
Wow.
Didn't see the kids or my wife, or didn't step foot into my gym here, the business. I didn't really even see anyone because I didn't want any distraction other than training, recovery, sleep, watch tape, just whatever, anything that wasn't going to help me win this fight, I just didn't do it. So I had nothing left to give. I gave it everything for that camp, and the being away from Lee, or like, and Lucy and Charles.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mention Lucy. Yeah.
Lee at Lee's age, it was really difficult this time. Like, I've been away from him before for fights, but he's nearly 7 years old now, and he really understood it. And was constantly asking for dad, and why can't he see dad, and where's dad, and like he was getting upset, and that was really very, very difficult. Um, and I guess the plan for me in camp was to go back and see him on the weekends, but they kept getting sick. The kids kept getting sick, and I couldn't afford to get sick, so I didn't see him for the last 4 weeks, and I hadn't hugged any of the kids or Charles for that whole time, and I think I was looking forward to hugging him more than anything. And then when he got in the ring, and yeah, I gave him a hug, and I just knew how much he wanted me to win the fight as well, and um, yeah, it's hard to
I
put
think
into words.
I think we all saw it, mate, and because the
That's
thing is,
special.
so back in 2023 when we were over there for the Nakatani fight, he was obviously a little bit too young, I'm assuming, to sort of get his head around it all. But now, like you said, being almost 7 years of age, and he's got his little Andrew Maloney team kit on as well, which I think is fantastic, and it's great that you share that. But just give everyone out there a little bit of insight. I mean, we all see you guys up there on the night of the fight. Of course, I know there's the press conferences and all that sort of stuff, but just tell everyone, give a little bit of an idea of how hard it is in a training camp that consists of sometimes 10 or 12 weeks, and exactly what sort of sacrifice is required.
Yeah, well, I guess like I mentioned, like for this one, it was just I shut everything off, and I just knew that I got to sleep properly, I got to eat properly, I got to train, I got to, if I'm not training, I'm resting, or I'm doing recovery, or I'm at physio, or I'm at massage, I'm in the hot and cold pools, doing the magnesium baths, and then I'm training again, and then I'm making sure my meals are right, and I'm weighing all it out. And it's just, to be honest, like I'll be honest here, like I still at 35 feel like I'm in my prime. I feel like I'm boxing better than ever, but there I need to do a lot, and I'm mindful of that. So I do a lot now for recovery, and a lot of massage, a lot of physio, a lot of, and like there's not a second for anything else. It's like the whole day is eat, sleep, train, recover, repeat, and putting in 2 or 3 sessions a day. And you're sore, you're tired, you're banged up, you're bruised. It's every day is difficult, and you wake up. I love training, but during a training camp, I don't love training. You wake up every day, and you're like, by the end of the camp, you're that over it, but you know what's required, and you know you can't have a day off. So you just got to keep pushing and know that you've done the work, because it's not just physically, but it's mentally. I feel like that's the biggest thing. And for this fight in particular, again, by doing, let's say I normally prepare, I always thought I prepared 100%, but I realized this camp that there's that little 1% more I can do. And going into this fight knowing that there's not one thing more I could have done was such a great feeling. I can't even explain it. It was strange. Even though there was so much pressure on the line and such a big fight, I felt so calm knowing that I couldn't have done anything more than what I've done. And I almost was at peace that I've done everything possible, and now what will be will be. If I'm good enough, I'm good enough, because I couldn't have done not one thing more.
I suppose there's a difference between wanting to train and liking to train to actually having to train, which is what a training camp isn't. We all like to just go have a bit of a hit and it's all fun, but when you've actually got to get up and run, and you've got to diet, and you've got to spar, and you've got to train everything else. Mate, you mentioned before about the step-aside money. I think it's been well documented and everything else. How hard was it to knock that money back? And I think Ado has made a good comment here. How persistent was Matchroom with the step-aside request?
It wasn't hard at all, if I'm honest. I guess it would have been very, very hard now if I hadn't have won the fight to look back on and beat myself up over it. But I didn't even, like I said to my manager Tony, like I said, I don't even want to know about it. Like I don't even want to know the numbers. He felt, that he needed to tell me, because that's just, I guess, the right thing to do. But the answer was always going to be no. because I just couldn't live with having that in the back of my mind. If I hadn't have won this fight, if I had have taken the money and then not been world champion, or the fight not coming, you're not going ahead, because it's easy to say you've only got to wait one fight, but things don't work like that in boxing. And like, say they organised their fight and one of them got injured and it got pushed back, and then he took a while to decide if he was going to vacate the titles, or then didn't vacate, or did vacate and then they get split up, and then I might have to wait another 5 months, 4 or 5 months to then fight, and then not know who I was going to fight or where it was going to be, or I could get injured in that time, or I could be at the ring for a year and then get into the ring rusty, not fought in 18 months and not win the fight, and then have to live with regret that I never became, world champion, or didn't win this world title because I took the money instead. And, in 10 years' time, that money I don't think would, that's not going to give me any pride knowing that I got 350 grand or whatever it is in the bank. And it's funny because, yes, I would have kicked myself if I had lost this fight, but waking up the next morning after winning this fight, I went, the way I felt, that money wouldn't even have come close to replacing the feeling. And even the way I'm feeling right now, like, the money would not even have, that money's not even close to swapping for what I've felt this last 2 weeks. Um, also it was a gamble on myself because I believed I could win this fight. And now I'm not going to mention anything, but there's some big opportunities already coming. Some exciting talks about what's next, and I'm confident we can make that money back. So it was definitely a gamble, but I bet on myself and we won.
Yeah, and that's the sort of the way I saw it too. Mate. Is that it's easy to say, well, just take the money and I'm sure you'll be next. But as you said, there's so many things, politics and everything else that can sort of come into it as well. And all of a sudden, things get pushed back and pushed around, and all of a sudden you're out of the gang and all the rest of it. But to bet on yourself, and then of course now you've got the opportunity to, with that belt, now to go on the bigger and better fights. Actually, before I get to Big J's comment there, this is from Ada. I forgot this one before. So it says here, can you please remind him just how proud we are all of his title win? It was a special moment to witness. So I'm sure that's been the sentiment from everyone there, mate. But it seems to be the common comment through the threads here. Now, Big J, where is he? I'm sure he's all right. Here we go.
Thank you, Ado. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks you, Ado. All right, please ask the champ. This is why you didn't say chump there, Big J. Please ask the champ if he thinks the win in Japan one-ups Jason. Well, that's not a very good question. Still working on the 6 million. Haven't won the lotto yet. Maybe the boys should sign with Zuffa. Well, that's probably a question we could ask. But, I mean, we won't go into the first one. Of course he doesn't one-up Jason. I mean, yeah, I'm sure you're proud of each other. But
Big J's been saying he's going to win a lotto, and me and Jason are going to fight each other for six mil, which I like the sound of the money. But we always talked about fighting. I don't know, the possibility of fighting each other over years, but I'll put it to bed. Like, I guess I proved this for this fight. Like, money's not everything. It's amazing. We all want it, but me and Jason aren't going to fight each other. We've always said, if they throw enough money up, but we're not going to fight each other.
You can joke about it. It's like the Zoo brothers fight. Yeah. Maybe we could have them on the same card, the Maloney's versus the Zoo. It's not going to happen, guys. So I think we joke about it. But I actually remember just in the last few months with what's been going with Tim and Nikita, the people have, I thought it was a joke, but people have actually been saying, hey, could this really happen? No, it's not going to happen. They're not going to fight each other, just like Andrew and Maloney and Andrew and Jason are going to fight. I mean, we all know Andrew wins the fight easily, so why even ask the question?
No one's even going to tune in. They know what's going to happen.
Jason's not listening to this, is he? I'll say the same thing to him when I speak to him. But all right, we've got another comment here. Hey, Andrew, congratulations. Having reached such a long-term goal you've been chasing for such a long time, have you experienced a sense of fulfillment, and what drives you now? Big fan, thank you. That's from Oscar.
Yeah, it's a good question. But the reason I guess for this one, I've been trying not to think about what's next, and I've been really trying to celebrate this moment because often as athletes, every time I've achieved something, I remember winning the Commonwealth Games gold medal, the WBA world title. You're always just thinking about, oh, what's next, and I've never celebrated my wins at all, and just enjoyed that moment. So that's something that I've really done this time. I've just enjoyed these last few weeks and not really thought about what's next, and just enjoyed the fact that we got it done. Um, but I've already now been at the gym for 2.5 weeks, which is probably the longest I've had off in
I was going to
years.
say you've always been active, haven't you? You've right through your
Yeah,
whole career, in what 12 years, you've always been active.
yeah, I've always 1 week off after a fight and then straight back in the gym. But and yeah, to be honest, there's been some talks about what's next, and I'm very excited. And I don't have a feeling of I'm done. I'm hungry for what's next, and I know I can achieve more. And the belts have been vacated now, which is unfortunate in a way. I would have loved to have fought Bam for the undisputed titles, but it's also exciting that these belts are going to be spread out, and um, now we can chase those belts one by one and collect more. Yeah, I mean, I'm satisfied with what I've done, but I'm still more. Definitely, yeah, want to collect some more belts, and also, um, I definitely didn't put money before my dream of becoming a world champion. But certainly now that I am world champion, I certainly want to now, I guess, almost pay back my family for the sacrifices they've made, and financially want to make some good money so that I can give them a great life, for the years ahead. So that's certainly a motivating factor for me now, as well as collecting some more belts along the way.
And Shadowbox, I missed this one before. I'm sure you've been asked, how hard was it to convince Chelsea to turn down the guaranteed step aside money? Did she even know? Did you tell her, or you just sort of kept her in the dark?
Yeah, I told her, and it's funny because a few people have said this, but she wouldn't even have let me take the money.
Yeah.
Um, that's not the type of wife she is. She would have, if I had said we're taking the money, she would have said you're an idiot. You're not fucking doing it. So,
Well, she's
um,
been there since
yeah,
day one, hasn't she?
yeah. Well, before I even turned pro back in,
Mm.
yeah, been in a long time, 2011,
Jeez.
2012, something like that. So before I even turned professional, and she sacrificed just as much as I have, if not more,
Mm.
for this dream. She's moved states twice for me now, or 3 times for me now. And her life's revolved around me boxing and chasing this dream. So, yeah, she wouldn't even have let me take that money.
Mm. Well, here's a question from someone you might know very well. What is it? Ron Picken. Hey, Andrew, I think I know the answer, mate, but now you have climbed the mountain. How are you feeling going forward? Is the drive just the same, knowing how hard the camps have been? Cheers from Anka.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Well, how are you, Anka? Firstly, love you, mate. Can't wait to catch
Another
up.
big part of the
Yeah,
the past, wasn't he, Ronnie?
big part. Yeah, there's been so many people that have played a part in this journey, and yeah, Ronnie's certainly one of them. Was my running and conditioning coach, and uh, for many years while I lived in Melbourne, and a great supporter, and always keeps me motivated, even to this day. But yeah, I guess I sort of touched on this before. Yes, I've climbed the mountain, but um, yeah, there's still plenty more. The fire's still there. There's still so much more I want to achieve, and yeah, I want to go down as one of, if not the best ever out of this country. So there's still plenty more to achieve.
Mm. I just want to go back to the fight. I've got a couple more questions for you, so I hope you haven't got plans tonight. I've got a few more things I want to fire at you, but I just want to go back to the fight. After 11 rounds, now, I said in my video as well, I thought, I was I might have been a couple of rounds off the mark, but I actually thought you won 6 of the first 8 rounds, if not 7 of the first 8 rounds. I thought the way you fought the game plan was brilliant, but then I think 8, 9, 10, and maybe even 11. I think he might have got, maybe it was along that line anyway. But I thought after 11 rounds that he was coming on strong. Obviously, you're starting to feel the effects of a really brutal and tough fight. What was said in between rounds, and what was going through your head as you were about to come out for that 12th and final round?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I felt I started the fight very well. I guess I think it was round 7. Maybe 6. I'll have to watch it back. 6 and 7 weren't very good. And I remember coming back to my corner, and I yelled at myself. I was like, "Come on!" And they're like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I was like, I could feel it. Just sort of, I needed to do more, and I was like, I just need to do more. Like, I was starting to stress a little bit. And I was round 8. I actually had a really good round. I think I won round 8 on all the scorecards.
Yep.
But then 9, 10, 11. Yeah, he started to really get momentum, and I felt he edged those rounds. And yeah, I guess the team read the fight perfectly, which is, why you need an experienced corner. And they said to me, "Look, we think you win it, but the fight might be on the line here. You need to win this round to become world champion. Like, the fight might be on the line. This round, it's all on the line." And that was exactly what I wanted to hear, because it would have been pretty easy at that point to start sort of, I don't know, almost feeling sorry for yourself that you're getting tired and it's getting hard. But I was like, no way I'm letting this one slip. And I was lucky that I had it in me to dig deep in that last round and get back to using my boxing ability and using my skill. And I got back on my toes, which I sort of hadn't done for the rounds before, because my feet were absolutely on fire. I had blisters all over them. But I was like, obviously that's not going to stop me at that point. And I just got back on my toes, and I just knew that I can't let him touch me at all this round. I can't let it be close. And was lucky, well, I guess not lucky, the round, the 20-odd years of total dedication and hard work, I was able to dig deep in that last round and pull through and won that round on all 3 cards, and ended up being, it was that 3 minutes it came down to. 22 years of work and sacrifices came down to 3 minutes. Yeah. And I was able to pull through, which I'm proud of. But if I'm honest, it scares the shit out of me, thinking, imagine if I didn't get it done, I would be a mess.
Because you're right, because if the corner hadn't really got up you after that last round and told you needed to win, I mean, you could have quite rightly thought, well, no, I reckon I've won sort of 8 out of the 11 or 7 out of the 11, maybe just cruise, and all of a sudden you lose the last round and it's a draw or it's a split decision his way. It's amazing what 1 minute in between rounds can do for a whole career. Like you said, 22 years.
Oh, absolutely. Like that's, I guess, little kick up the bum, like it definitely spurred me on and made me realise just it's all on the line here, and you can't let this one go. But also the way that they instructed me throughout the fight, just the adjustments that we made. So grateful for my team, because they certainly got me over the line.
All right, now I'm going to just change tact a little bit from the fight to the Australian scene, and more importantly, the Australian media. There was no TV. There was no coverage. We've all had our say, especially me. I've been told to settle down and shut up by numerous people saying I'm getting too excited about it. First of all, the lack of TV. Explain why there was no TV here, and how do you feel about the mainstream media pretty much just giving you the big stop sign?
I'll explain the TV thing first. So it's what were we, two weeks out from the fight? It looked like the whole show was going to get cancelled.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So Comida Promotions, they had 2 fight cards on in Kyrgyzstan, which there was rumours we were going to be on that initially, but they then put us on the Japan card. So initially the Kyrgyzstan event got pushed back a few weeks, and then the week of that fight they cancelled the card. and that was going to be, basically 2 weeks before my fight date. And I started seeing things on Twitter that came out that maybe there's more to this, that initially the Kyrgyzstan event was cancelled because of the war and things going on. But then they said, nah, the truth is Cometa Promotions has split with their business partner, and they're basically the major sponsor, who's like their naming rights sponsor, that's put up all the funding basically for the events. And they'd split. So then they said the June 6th event in Japan is also up in the air. We can't confirm whether that's going ahead or not.
Ooh.
And I was just thinking,
not again.
This felt like, oh mate, it felt like, Mexico all over again, and the fight was going to get cancelled and pushed back. And I was so devastated because, as I said, I had nothing more to give in that camp. I'd been away from the family already for so long and put in so much hard work, paid for sparring partners to be out here, and spent a fortune on my training camp like I always do. And I sort of felt like, no, like the whole time before up to this fight, I felt like this was my moment. This was how my story was supposed to be. And then when they talked about cancelling, I thought, nah, maybe I am the unlucky bloke that this just keeps happening to. And then thankfully, the Japanese commission came out and said, if you don't put this show on June 6th, Cometa Promotions will take your license away. You can no longer promote any events in the future. So I think that probably helped a little bit, and Cometa pushed really hard and was able to secure it. Initially, the fight was going to be on YouTube all around the world, free. And then they secured a partnership with Abema TV in Japan to fund the event, put it on. It was going to be live on TV over there, which was obviously amazing news that the event was going ahead. So then that was I think that only got done maybe 10 days before the fight or something. So we quickly tried to organise Australian TV to have this event on, but it was just obviously Japanese commentary, Japanese writing, only on by the time this all settled, it was probably only a week out, and it just wasn't enough time to get it on TV. Ben Damon from Fox was really pushing hard to try and help me to get it on. Got to the point where I was even there was obviously some work involved. They needed someone to be in the TV studio. The TV studio was busy on that night, so they needed to use another location. And I said, look, I'll put money in my own pocket. I'll pay for this to be on Aussie TV. Just get it done. But in the end, it was just, it wasn't going to work. It was too difficult. And also Abema TV had paid a fortune for the rights, and I don't think they wanted to distribute it to Australia without quite a big fee.
Yep.
So in the end, it was a real shame for me that it wasn't on TV in Australia, because I really would have loved everyone back home to be able to watch. So, I guess that was very, pretty disheartening. But I've also come to realise over my career, I've been in the game for a pretty long time now, and most of my career, obviously, been abroad, fighting in America quite a lot, multiple countries, and I guess never really getting any attention from the Australian media, never really been on Aussie TV much, and most people around here don't even know that I box. So I guess I'm used to it now, and I've sort of come to terms that I'm probably, never going to be a household name in Australia. But I'm getting pretty big in Japan, and I'm getting a pretty good following over there. And to be honest, I'll probably see the remainder of my career being over in Japan, and they treat me very well over there. The cards over there are massive. They really respect the fighters over there, and I get a lot of love over there. So, I'd obviously love more support here in Australia, but I've also come to realise that it's probably not going to happen unless I'm fighting, on these local shows, which it just isn't really possible at this point in my career for the fights I want. they don't really pay much attention to the lighter weight divisions that I'm in here in Australia, but they certainly do in Japan. So I think that's where I'll probably be.
Now, I knew you'd probably answer that with a straight bat. You're a nice guy and you're going to be all nice about it. But surely the fact that you didn't get, I understand the TV side of things. That's actually what I expected, that they couldn't do a deal. But the fact that you have no mainstream publicity, I suppose, it's got to piss you off, surely. I mean, I know we're not talking about certain promotional firms and certain fighters and all this sort of stuff, but you are Australia's only male world champion at the moment, and you could not get one article in a mainstream newspaper. Now, I'm pissed off as a friend, as a fan, whatever it might be, just as an Australian boxing fan. Surely it's got to roll you up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen much of it, to be honest, but there's nothing to see. But yeah, I mean, it's
Not
pretty.
much you can do about it. I know.
It's bullshit. But I've also realised that boxing's not a big sport over here. They love, the AFL, the NRL, and they like to watch these guys box, but they don't really like to watch the proper fighters so much.
How does that make you feel, Andy? We're just talking about you. How does it make you feel that on Wednesday night, and I know they've done the training, everything else, but how does it make you feel that we've got two NRL players, and I know it's a big sport in Australia, getting 100 times more publicity than you've ever got for any of your fights, ever?
Yeah. It's that part I think is a joke. Like, especially when that show is going to be broadcast on PBC in America and going to be shown worldwide, to have that fight as the co-feature.
It was above Liam Wilson when he was on the card. It was above him in a world title eliminator. Well, he's a world title.
And it's probably almost had more publicity than Paro and Crocker, and they've paid a lot of money to win that purse bid. And then for that fight to sort of take the publicity and almost take a bit of shine away from Paro as well, I think that's a shame for him. But also to show this on a global scene worldwide, and that's the co-feature, is almost a bit embarrassing, really.
You can say it, Andy. It's a joke. I mean, look, I understand. You know the way boxing works, obviously. You understand that, it was a big purse bid. It was a lot more than probably what they wanted to spend. They've got to get eyeballs on. They've got to sell pay-per-views. They've got to generate interest. I get that. But surely even when Liam Wilson was on the card, I mean, that's good to sell the card, but surely Liam Wilson, as number 2 or 3 ranked 130-pounder in the world, should have been above them. And obviously he's on another card now. But
on that, I'll give No Limit a bit of respect. Look at the Tim Tszyu card. That's
stacked.
And it goes to show that they can put on phenomenal boxing talent, and you don't need the sideshow circus fight. It's a shame that that's how it is, but obviously, I guess that does the pay-per-view numbers here in Australia, and people are more interested. Majority of people are more interested, I guess, in watching that stuff than the proper boxing, which is a shame because obviously we love boxing and know how good the sport can be. And you look at like that Tim Tszyu card, and that's impressive to show the world that that's a fight card we can put on in Australia. It's pretty impressive. And then I guess for Paro to then have that as the co-features, I get a bit embarrassing in a way. But that's the way this sport is in Australia, and unfortunately we don't have enough diehard boxing fans, but we've got a lot of general punters and NRL fans and footy fans that will tune into the boxing if one of those blokes is fighting. So I understand it. It's just disappointing that we don't have more boxing fans here in Australia.
All right, let's talk some Aussie boxing just before I let you go. So, of course, this Wednesday night, Liam Paro, Lewis Crocker. What are your thoughts on the fight? Can Liam Paro become Australia's only second two-weight world champion?
I hope so. If I'm honest, I haven't seen a lot of Crocker. I've seen little clips of him, and I can see he's a very big, strong boy. I've seen the knockdowns in the what's his name? The bloke he just fought. Yeah, Donovan. I saw the knockdowns in that fight, and he looks to be very big and strong, which I was initially quite, I guess, a little bit concerned because Paro's only just moved up to welterweight and probably still growing into that division. To be fair, that's the concern, is that maybe Crocker might be a bit too big and strong. But I do really hope Paro can get it done because I really like Paro, and that win against Matthias was amazing. If he can pull out a performance like that again, then he can certainly get it done. Um, and I think he'll be really up for this, having this fight here in Australia, having, again, unfortunately, having to win his world title in Puerto Rico and then have his first defence in Puerto Rico was obviously would have been disappointing for him. So now to be fighting for a world title in Australia, I think he'll be really up for this one. And I just, really hope he can get over the line and become the two-time world champion and get himself another one of these beautiful things behind me.
Well, before we move on to the next question, this is a super chat from Andy. Sadly, not enough coverage of our great sport of boxing in Australia unless you're a popular celebrity. But you are an Aussie boxing champion in the eyes of actual boxing fans, and that's all that matters. Congratulations. Thanks, Andy. The other Andy.
Yeah.
This is Andy, the other Andy. MOW is Andy. So,
Thanks, other Andy. Appreciate that, mate. Thank you.
The Maloneys are the epitome of resilience, determination, and heart-inspiring stuff. So that's a good comment. Thank you, Shadow Boxer.
Yeah, thank you.
Mate, now just the Tim Tszyu fight. We can't obviously not talk about that. Thoughts on the Errol Spence fight, and not just, I suppose, the fight, but the card itself.
Well, yeah, crazy card. I did not see. I know they talked about Charlo being on the card for a while, but that Stephen Fulton Liam Wilson fight came out of nowhere, and that's a cracking fight. So to have Charlo, Mazzudia, Fulton and Wilson, and then Tim and Spence, it's a stacked card.
You'll be there,
very impressive
in Sydney.
Yeah, I'm going to go down. Yeah, go down to Sydney and be there for that one.
Ringside seats, I would hope they give you on the night. But anyway, that's another conversation. I'm surely you're not going to have to pay for tickets.
I haven't had that conversation yet, but surely that's my ticket. Is that my ticket, or is it surely?
Surely there should be a call saying, "Hey, we'd love to have you at ringside on the night and just as a special guest." But do you give Tim a chance? I know there's the 3 years out of the ring is a massive question for question mark on Spence, but can Tim get the job done if say a 90% version of Spence turns up?
Yeah, well, I think so. The 90% thing, I guess, I don't know, but I guess that is the question: is like, how much does Spence have left? It looked to me in that Crawford fight that he had nothing left. I know he'd been in a car accident before that and had some damage to his eye and had a couple other injuries, and I think he'd been getting stuck into the alcohol a lot as well at that stage and drinking and just not living the life of an athlete. And he looked like he was shot in that fight against Bud. Not to take anything away from Crawford, he is an absolute animal, but Spence just didn't seem to have anything left in that fight. So when it first got announced, I thought this is going to be a perfect fight for Tim because Spence is a big name. Hasn't been in the ring for over 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
But not only that, he didn't seem to me, like when I first saw clips of him training, he didn't even look like he'd been training. His body looked very soft, like someone who hadn't been in the gym. But I guess as this fight's got closer and the more I've seen interviews with Spence, he's not drinking anymore. He seems to be sort of living the life, a bit more of an athlete. Looks to be back in good shape. But there's a lot of question marks. How much has Spence got left? How much has that 3 years out of the ring affected him? How much he's living the life now, but how much damage has he done over the last few years not living the life? I personally, I know Spence was a great fighter, but I think after 3 years out the ring and not being in the gym and doing damage, I think he would have slipped quite a lot, and I think that Tim will be very, very determined to have make a statement in this fight and get back to winning ways and get back to sort of that momentum he had a few years ago. I think Tim's going to get it done.
Yeah, I'm along the same thought as well. Now, I can't interview without asking about Zuffa boxing. And of course, Jai Pataya. There's also been some rumours around there about certain Australian boxers that might be looking over the fence at Zuffa as well. Give me your thoughts about the whole Zuffa thing, I suppose, whatever you want to call it, the Zuffa juggernaut that's sort of happening. And more importantly, what did you think about what happened to Jai getting stripped of the belt? I would think there's no chance of you going to Zuffa with that IBF belt in the background after what happened to him, but I can ask the question. But so what are your thoughts on Zuffa as a whole, but also its effect on boxing, and also, more importantly, your thoughts on what happened with Jai Pataya and his IBF belt?
Yeah, firstly, I feel really sorry for Jai, in a sense that he was so vocal that he wanted to be undisputed champion, and he was chasing these belts and been through a few different promoters. Matchroom, I guess he thought they were going to give him these opportunities. They didn't. He then had to come back at home, which was good to see him fighting back at home. But from what I hear, probably wasn't getting the paydays that he obviously would have liked as world champion. But chasing these other belts, and then I believe obviously that what would have got him over the line signing with Zuffa, apart from the great money that he's making. So happy for him in that aspect. But I think the selling point for him was the fact they said, yes, you can still chase this undisputed and collect these other belts. So then to be stripped in his first fight for him, I felt pretty sorry for him. But also,
You think he did his due diligence, Andy, or do you think they maybe jumped in with a little bit of blind hope, maybe?
yeah, I don't know because I'm not involved in it, but he also would have heard he's making some really good money there, and they're promoting him exceptionally well. He's all over. He's over in America quite a lot. He's on a lot of the big events. You would have seen him at the White House event in the UFC, and big billboards even at the Gold Coast Airport with his face all over it, and like they're promoting him exceptionally well. He's making good money from what I've heard. So as much as it sucks that he's not getting these belts, they're still looking after him. But yeah, I mean, going back to the whole thing, I guess my initial thoughts with Zuffa when they were saying only doing select weight groups, maybe half the divisions, just I guess the old school weights.
Yeah.
They were only going to do their Zuffa title, not work with the other sanctioning bodies. I was a bit not sure about the whole thing, but it seems to have really changed its tune now. They're happy to work with the other sanctioning bodies.
I'm just looking at your little note on the back there. What's that say there? I can almost read it there.
So this is. I'll show you. Sorry to cut you off from the from the question. These are the sort of notes Lee's been writing me lately on there. And this was in the build-up too. So this is why I was so emotional hugging him in the ring after the fight, because I knew how much he wanted me to win, and I guess that's because he knows how much I wanted to win. But he's practicing his writing at school. To Dad, I love you because you are the new champion of the world, so we can have fun and play. Love from Lee.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's fantastic. Well, straight to the scrapbook for that one.
Straight to the fridge.
Tell him to come in and say good day.
Do you want to come talk? Thank you, buddy. Love you, mate.
Big camera shy.
So then, but it seems to be with Zuffa that I guess where they initially came out and said they weren't going to work with the sanctioning bodies, they were only going to do certain divisions. That seems to have all changed now, and they seem to be happy to work with the other promoters. They're opening up new weight divisions, and basically just putting on these big events like they were in Rehab, but all over the world. There's events now in America. There's some coming to the UK, Japan, Australia, I'm hearing. So now it just sounds like what they were doing in Rehab, and that's great for boxing. They're putting together the biggest, some of the biggest fights in the sport that people have been wanting to see for a long, long time. And they got the funds to be able to put those shows on and put those fights on and make the fights that the fans have wanted to see and in the past probably missed out on. So that's a big bonus. And then on top of that, the people they got working for Zuffa and the team behind it is the best of the best. A lot of the guys that we worked with at Top Rank that get along with really well are over there, and they've got all the big names in commentary and working the TV, and they put together an all-star cast from top to bottom. So I think it's only going to go up from here and become more and more dominant.
Yeah, I think it'll work in the long run, but I suppose, like you said, that it's been changing a fair bit as they went. I got no doubt that Dana White initially thought, well, screw everyone involved in boxing, we're just going to take over now. And unfortunately, Jai might be a bit of a scapegoat in the whole thing, but now they're starting to think, well, we have to, at least for now, work with everybody in the industry, and then obviously their own system can come in later down the track. Here's a good question from Samuel Nixon. Do you think Jai would beat David Benavides?
I guess we don't know until they get in the ring.
Great fight though, isn't it?
It's amazing. I hope they can make it happen. I think there's no doubt that's the hardest fight out there for Jai in that division at the moment. It's a very difficult fight. There's no doubt about it. But of course, I'm going to back an Aussie and my mate Jai, and
there he is.
Hope he can get it done. But yeah, certainly a very difficult fight. Just one more thing back to the Zuffa thing. I can't help but think that maybe their initial plans were to not work with the sanctioning bodies and just do their own thing, but they obviously wanted to sign all the biggest names in the sport and all the really big draws. And I can't help but feel that maybe they realised that these guys didn't want to give up the chance to fight for these other titles, the WBC, WBA, IBF, and WBO, because that's what us fighters have grown up dreaming about and wanting to do is become world champions and hold these belts like this one behind me. So then to try and tell these guys you're not going to be fighting for those, I think they would have found it very difficult to sign the top guys, and I think that's maybe why the tunes changed quite a bit.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think that Dana White's obviously, he's from the UFC thing where that's one belt and he's the king of the kingdom and everything else. And I think he didn't realise that it is established and the belts and the organisations have a lot of flaws, the sanctioning bodies. But at the end of the day, like you said, you guys have all been raised, wanting to win those belts, and maybe it might change in another 20 or 30 years' time when the new batch of fighters comes through. But for now, it looks like that they're going to have to bend just a little bit. So, mate, just before we let you go, what's next for you? I know you can't say too much, but is there anything that's in the wins now? Obviously, you'd probably like to unify, maybe if you get the chance.
Yeah, look, I'd love to. We'll have to, I guess, wait and see what happens with these other belts. I guess the top contenders will now fight for those vacant titles. And then, yeah, absolutely, the goal will be to then collect those other belts and unify the division. That would be that's the sort of thing that really excites me now. I guess those questions earlier about maybe not having the drive now that I've achieved the goal, but imagine having a belt on each shoulder and that being a unified champion. That's bloody exciting. So, yeah, certainly collecting those other belts when that time comes, but for now, there's already some really exciting talks, which I can't obviously say just yet, but there's some very exciting discussions already happening about my next fight. And
is there a time frame, Andy, like that you're looking to get back in the ring, or?
I'll be back in the ring this year, and I guess it's probably, somewhat obvious that I'll probably be back over in Japan. We'll wait and see who and exactly when, but there's some very exciting talks, and I'm very motivated to continue the role now and keep hold of this belt for a long time and collect other belts and set my family up for a great life ahead, and hopefully one that I don't have to work too much and can spend more time with my little champ here and the rest of the family.
Well, I'm definitely going to try and get to the next fight. I was actually got in a little bit of trouble with this fight because my older son went to Japan, I think, last December, and was very excited when I said I was trying to get over there. And when I said I can't with work and everything at the time, he was a bit shirty. But the fact you're going to fight over there again, hopefully this year might give us an opportunity to get back there. And if you've got the details, how maybe there's some viewers out there that might want to actually go over and support as well. I think you had a good little support crew that went over in the last fight.
Yeah, we had I think 25.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, Maloney from Australia over there, which was unreal. Like,
and a lot of those have been with you since day dot, haven't they? I know you're is it Forest One, the sponsors? They've been there since I can remember 12 years ago.
Yeah. We had a good crew over there, and it really, does help when you got people over there, screaming for you. And it was funny. Like, we've always had a pretty good reception, me and Jason, from the Japanese crowd, but I guess they saw the like my group of supporters and how much everyone was really getting into the fight and trying to get me over the line, that they all joined in the end, and I had pretty much the whole crowd screaming for me. It was amazing, the support we had over there, and yeah, so grateful for the people that made the trip over. And already got people talking about coming over for the next one. So and Japan's such an awesome place. So
I've heard, yeah.
I recommend it to anyone. Come over for a holiday and come support me.
Well, one last question before I let you go. We can't let you go without mentioning the brother, that other guy. What's his name? Jason Maloney. What's he up to, mate? I know he's with Tasman Fighters now. So, anything on the horizon for him, or is he just sort of waiting to get some news?
I think they're pretty close to securing his next date. I've had a bit going on in the last few weeks.
Just a little bit.
I haven't really, asked him where they're at with that. But I think he's pretty close to locking in a date. I actually don't know where or when it's going to be, but I believe he's pretty close to locking something in. And hopefully that'll be either an eliminator for a title or he can fight for a belt. Yeah, it's been a long time. The dream's been for us to both be world champions at the same time. And yeah, we've both held belts at different times now. And so I'm hoping 2026 or early 27 we can finally knock that big goal off and both be world champions at the same time, because that'd be pretty bloody special.
And are you a free agent now, Andy? Are you actually aligned with somebody, or it's just fight by fight at the moment?
Yeah, I haven't signed a promotional agreement as of yet. So yeah, we'll work through that, work out what's next. The team, Tony and Angelo, are already working on what's next, and some offers come our way. So we'll probably have something locked in pretty soon that hopefully I can announce. So yeah, it's exciting. You go from struggling to get a fight to then everyone wanted to fight, and offers come from everywhere. So it's exciting.
Great at what a belt can do. And I didn't actually mention before, by the way, Angelo and Tony have been there since almost day one, and have done so much for you guys. And Angelo as a trainer, Tony as the manager, you must be very thankful for what they have done for the career for you and Jason.
Oh, extremely. They're fifth fight in. I think we moved to Tony and Angelo managing us, and then a little bit later than that, 10 fights or so, Angelo then training us. And I can't thank them enough, honestly. Like, I couldn't have done this without them. It's like, I feel bad saying I'm world champion. It's we won the world title, because it was a team effort, honestly. Like, it might be me in the ring, but they put everything together, and Tony organising these fights and getting me these opportunities, and then Angelo giving me the ability to win that fight. There's no way I could have done it without them. So forever grateful. And for the viewers maybe watching that don't know the part you played, Lynden, I need to give you a rap too, mate, because there's been a lot of people on the journey, but you played a massive role in starting our career and building us to then get to the position to fight for world titles, and got us so many regional belts along the way, and invested in us to to then get into a position to be signed by Top Rank and fight for world titles, and then the rest is history. But yeah, you promoted our first 15 fights.
Or something like that. It was a
Basically.
fair few, yeah. But no, mate, it's
So
been absolutely my pleasure.
you played a big part, mate. So forever grateful to you too, mate.
No worries at all, mate. And yeah, it's proud. And I said before, some of your sponsors and obviously support staff and just people that have been around. I didn't mention either Nobsy as well has been along for the journey for that whole
Yeah.
way as well. So, no, mate, I'll just speak to everyone out there that to let you know how proud we are of what you've done. And, I'm sure the recognition and hopefully the money and all that will come along with it as well, mate. But just one of the most unforgettable performances I've seen from an Aussie boxer, especially doing it overseas. And so proud to have been a part of it at the start and along for the journey since, mate. So all the very best to you and your little mate at the back there. Hey, buddy. But no, I really appreciate you coming on, Andy. And I know you've been inundated with interview requests and everything else, but really appreciate you've taken the time to give us, over an hour now. So I'm sure everyone got a lot out of it as well.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me on, and thank you for the people tuning in and the kind messages and support. Hopefully next time we can do a TV deal to have my next fight shown in Australia. That's something we are going to include next time around. So yes, I do really appreciate the people back here in Australia that do support me, and there's some exciting times ahead. So thank you for supporting, and the best is yet to come.
Good stuff.
But yeah, so bloody happy and grateful, and still so chuffed that we got this thing behind me on top of the world. And
Nice and shiny, mate. That's great. No, thanks again, Andy. All the very best, mate. No doubt I'll see you at the fights and the next couple of fight shows that are on. I'll be up there. So, mate, again, all the very best. Thanks for taking the time out and enjoy the time with the family.
Thank you, mate. Thank you for having me on. And again, thank you for everything you've done, mate. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be on, mate. Thank you so much.
Mate. Thanks, Andy. See you, mate.
Yes, thank you.
All right, that was Andrew Maloney, the new IBF 115-pound world champion. How good was that to have him on? Geez, I didn't realise he was going to be on that long. Sorry about that, guys. We just had a lot to get through. Excuse me. Thanks for all the messages there and the comments and all that there. I'm sure it means a lot to Andy. And let's just hope that he gets a little bit more recognition because he really has earned it, as has Jason as well. So I'm going to go back up to the top of the comments there. Keep them coming there, guys. But I'll go back to the top for a few. Actually, there's one that explicit. I just saw this one come through. What's that? I think we need to have a serious talk. What happened to on this day? Well, explicit. The reason I haven't been doing it is because I've had so many people say they fast forward through it. They don't like it. That's the reason why I haven't done it. Maybe if we get some big events there explicit, maybe I'll mention it. But I had so many people say, "Can you skip through the on this day stuff?" We don't care. We fast forward through it. So you guys are the viewers. So I just do what I'm told. But if you want me to maybe pick some certain things to do of the big events, I'm happy to do it, mate. But that's the reason why. No, there's Shadow Boxer. Thanks for making it happen. No worries at all, mate. I was up a little bit. I was a little bit up in the air about having Andy on, and I really wanted to, but I also knew that by the time he got back and on, there was, as you would have seen on multiple other platforms, he's probably done about 10 interviews, and I thought, well, do we really want to go over old ground? Which is why I was trying to maybe go in a different direction than what most of the interviewers have done. And so I hope I asked some questions that you wanted answered that weren't just, what do they call them, vanilla questions? Like, how do you feel? How great is it? Whatever. I wanted to get a little bit deeper into Andrew anyway, and I think he did. He elaborated a lot, didn't he? And really want to thank Andrew for coming on, and little Lee as well. He's a little champion. He's a mad little bugger though. We copped a few in the rib shots in the rib from him last time I was in Vegas with him back in 23. He likes to throw a few little Lee. I'm sure he's going to follow in Andy's footsteps. There's Ian. Thanks, mate. No, how'd you do that? Just a little emoji, is it? $10. Thank you very much, mate. I've never seen that before. Little emoji. Thank you very much, mate. I really appreciate that. Glenn, on this day is great. Don't listen to casuals. Okay, well, I'd like to bring it back. I really enjoyed doing it and doing some research into what was going on. So maybe I should listen to the majority and not the minority, Glenn. I'll bring it back. Good stuff. I'm glad to get a little bit of feedback in the positive, because most of the time it's you don't know what you're talking about, or just shut up, old man, all that sort of stuff. What do we got there? Motorsport. Wow, thanks for giving us the boxing deep dive behind the scenes with Andrew Maloney, the champ. No worries at all, mate. Well, I'm happy to do some more interviews. As I said, the reason I don't really do them is because, one, it's hard to sort of tie them down, but also, that they get 8 other interviews before I get to them, and it's by the time you get to them, you're just rehashing the same old content. So maybe maybe we'll get some more interviewers or interviewees back on. Yeah, Anthony is a terrific young man. He certainly is, mate. And one thing I'll say about Andrew and Jason, from day dot, like, I've met them about 15 years ago. They have not changed since the first night I met them down in Croydon at East End Boxing to the interview you saw then. It has not changed a bit. After all they've been through and the success and everything, they have not changed one bit. So that's why I have so much time for the Maloney boys, and I'll always go into bat for them, because what you see is what you get. All right, Andy, so you agree? Good stuff. Seriously, boxing is all about its history. Okay, no drama. You've talked me into it there, guys. I'm going to bring it back. I'm just trying to think. Thanks, Ado. That was amazing. Good stuff, mate. All right. Oh, Glenn, you missed it. Well, he started just over an hour ago, so Shadow Boxer is, mate, an exceptional champion in and out of the ring. Yep. And when I asked him to come on, just without hesitation, yep, no drama. When do you want me? None of this. Oh, well, I'll see if I can fit you in, sort of stuff. Just I'm going to come straight on. I think I've got to the end there, guys. Glenn, why would you not want to know about boxing's amazing history? Well, I'm with you, Glenn. That's why I started it. That's why I thought, well, if you're a boxing fan, or maybe you're a boxing fan that hasn't been a boxing fan for a long time, and maybe you started late, or you're just starting your journey through being a boxing fan, it was really to say, hey, on this day, this happened, that happened, that happened. Look, there are some days where, you're grasping at straws a little bit. It might be some IBF title fight from 1986, but hey, it is what it is. So if you want me to bring it back, I will. I really enjoyed doing it, by the way, but again, maybe I've fallen for listening to the minority and not to the majority, because I suppose at the end of the day, you can always just fast forward through it if you don't like it. So I'm going to do it. Asbot, there you go. That's okay. I admit, fast forward through this day, I'm just hungry for the current news, and that's one of the reasons why I did it, Asbot. Shadow Boxer Lynden, you promoted the first 15 or so fights. You must be so proud. Absolute legend. Yeah, I am, mate. And I'm not sure it was actually 15, but it might have been the first dozen or so. I think I took them on, it was in 2016 was my first show with the boys. We called it The Ones. And I remember both boys, they walked into, I think they'd only had, hang on, how many, they didn't start their career with me. They had a couple of fights at the start. But it was, where was it? I'm just trying to see the first. I think they'd have half a dozen fights. Yeah. Okay. So it was in 2016, and I remember I wanted to sort of go big, so I had these massive big banners when they walked in for the weigh-in. So when we did the weigh-in, you had this massive big, sort of almost the size of a football banner that you run through, and they're used to having really no banners or no anything. So when they were the main event on the main events on the show, they just sort of spellbound, because they had this massive big banner with their faces on it, and they thought it was great, and really tried to go out of my way to make sure that they were treated as the stars that they were. And I think it was about a dozen fights. The last fight I did with Andy was actually the fight in Bendigo. It was on the Tim Zoo undercard. Can you believe that now, that we had in Bendigo, we had Tim Zoo and Andrew Maloney on the same card, and Andrew was the main event. So, well, long story that, but it was the main event, but Tim was the last fight. It's a long story, but yeah, they fought on the same card. And I think Jason's last fight was earlier in that year when he fought the former Japanese world champion on another card that we did. So, yeah, it wasn't an easy exercise. It was hard work, but I just thought so much of the boys that and the potential that it was it was great to be involved with both of the boys, and I'm just glad that when it got time to handball them off to Top Rank when they were ready, and it was getting harder and harder to get the opponents and the titles that they were after. But it was great that Top Rank stepped in and took them on, and the careers just catapulted after that. So it was great to be a part of the journey, guys. And you're right, it was a very proud moment when Jason won his world title and Andy won his as well. What's that, Big J? Can we keep this on this day to Aussies only? That would be awesome. Yeah, but the problem is, though, Big J, not much happens every day of the week with Australian boxing, unless you're talking about an Australian featherweight title fight from 1969. I don't know, but I mean, when you do it worldwide, maybe the emphasis could be on Australian boxing. So if there's a big event, we could make a big deal and have a bit more to say about it. But I mean, as I said, there's probably only been one big boxing event per year, really, on average, hasn't there? So. Drew on this day was by far my favourite part of walking boxing. Okay, well, there you go. I think it's unanimous. Any fights in mind for the watch along? Okay, yes. I was going to mention this, Glenn. No worries, Ray Lee. My pleasure. What's that there? Idea, why don't you put a timestamp on the walking boxing so if you want, you can pass the history, you can go to the news. Okay, now, someone else suggested that, Asbot. I just don't know how to do it. It's okay, though. There's a thing called YouTube, and I'm sure I'll get on there and it will tell me how to put a timestamp in, but that's actually a good idea. I think with the podcast, I think they do that automatically, I think, but I will look into that, Asbot, and I'll have on this day, and if you want to fast forward it, you can do it, and if you want to hear what actually did happen in boxing history, like I've just got my boxing fan hat on, I would like to hear what happened on this day, which is why I did it. Now, Glenn, yes, so thanks for leading into that. So what I'm going to do, I know I've been talking a lot in the last few weeks about some possible shows, and they will happen eventually. I'm starting to slowly get on top of things. What I'm going to do is we've all seen the live watch-alongs, and I've done it myself. But now every man and his dog does live watch-alongs, and when you put them on, you're just competing. And I must admit, I don't really like doing them a lot. They're great for our regular viewers, but I sort of find that everyone goes in and types in, let's say it's Paro and Crocker, and they all tune in. They all expect it to be a live stream, and it doesn't actually say live stream. It says live watch along, but of course most people only see what they want to see. So a lot of them go, well, what's this shit? And I get about 10 thumbs down and all comments coming through and everything else, and get the bots and all that sort of stuff. So I don't really like to do it. So what I'm actually going to do is a live re-watch along. Now, let me know if this is a good idea or not. So what I'm going to do is choose some old fights. So let's just say Hagler Leonard. All right, so Hagler Leonard, we're going to put the fight on and we're going to watch the fight in its entirety as an audience and as a group and comment on it along the way. Now, you don't see a lot of this sort of stuff going on. And one thing I've always tried to pride myself on is that if everyone goes left, I sort of like to take a little bit of detour and go right. I've always had this thing about YouTube that if I'm going to do what everyone else does, I'm not going to bother. Okay, you got to be innovative, and I want to give my audience something they don't get with other channels. And nothing wrong with the other channels, nothing wrong at all. I'm just saying, why just be another part of the gang, I suppose. So what I'm going to do is look at a live re-watch along. So I'll take requests. Obvious fights come to mind, like Hagler Leonard. Maybe it's what are some of the other fights? The Ward and Gaddy fights. Maybe there's Ali Fraser or something. I don't know, but I will be taking requests, and we'll just watch the whole fight, and we can score it as we go. We can talk about it. Just a little bit of reminiscing about some of the most famous fights in history. If it's only a short fight, we might do a double header or something like that. So that's what I'm looking at anyway. What do we got here? Explicit. Let's talk about how much let's talk about how much we weight, because that's what Shakur and Devon are posting now, and this they is not boxing. Can't forget. Oh, okay, yeah, I did see that, by the way. I won't read the whole thing out there, explicit, but I know where you're coming from there, mate. I'm going to go back a little bit there, guys, with some comments, and I did see one there. All right, okay. So maybe when you do the watch along of old fights, it might encourage people to be more interested. Exactly, Glenn. Good take on it. Because what this is, I get a lot of people that, well, especially when it comes to whether it just be stuff I talk about in walking boxing or the on this day, is that I've got a lot of people say, oh, geez, I've only become a boxing fan in the last 10 years, and it's great. And they might be my age. So I'd like to know more about it. So what this could maybe do is, especially if we've got requests coming through, that it might give fight fans that aren't maybe up to speed with everything that's going on in history a chance to see some great fights of the past and be more exposed to those great fights. I mean, as I said, every man and his dog does live watch-alongs these days, and it's sort of lost its luster a little bit. But a live re-watch-along, and it might just have those, as I said, those casual fans who go, you know what, geez, I've never even heard of that fight or those fighters, and this is another more education into the greatest moments in history. And it might just be something we can pick and choose. I mean, the other question is what day to do it. Is it something you'd want to do on a Wednesday night? It could be something that could be done on a Sunday afternoon. I don't know. It could be on a 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday, in between the footy games, whatever it might be, in between the news and the dinner. I don't know. I'm probably going to rely on you guys to do that. Is that something you'd want in the first instance? And secondly, when's the best time to do it? Now, I've seen in here just a second ago. There he is there. Pommy in Oz. Now, Pommy in Oz, if you don't know Pommy, he's obviously an Englishman. He's come over here. He's not, I think you're a boxing fan, aren't you, Pommy? But he's got a YouTube channel. And it started off as a Carlton Football Club channel, but now he does pretty much everything. I'm not sure how much time you spend with your family these days, Pommy, because you seem to be doing a live watch along every time I see you. And that's great. Things like football and soccer and all that sort of stuff, that's great. But with boxing, it's been done to death. So what do you got there? Sorry, usually live Monday, so great to kick back with you. Don't know if you've covered thoughts on Eubank versus a Rafa. Well, that's gone awfully quiet, Pommy. We haven't really seen much of or much news about Eubank and Zarafa. Now, the word was, a bit out of focus there. The word was, of course, that there was government funding, there was sponsorship, all this sort of stuff. Michael's been pretty vocal about it all. Eubank actually himself said that talks were progressing, but in the last probably 4 to 5 weeks, it has gone very quiet, Pommy, and that probably means one thing, and that's they're struggling to get things across the line. Excuse me. So I've got a feeling, and I've said all along, mate, that I've got really, well, a lot of doubts, I'll say, that they'll be able to get the money from the government, because the government treat it like a business transaction. It's not a donation. It's not saying, oh, you're putting an event on now, there you go, there's $1 million. It's not like that. They'll go, okay, we'll give you $1 million. We want to see, 5 million in return. That's what they want to see, and they've got to get that almost guarantee. And I'm not sure Chris Eubank Jr. versus Michael Zarafa is going to really turn the needle too much. So I've got my doubts. I've got a feeling it might end up in England, Pommy. I think they'll have the money and sponsorship and backing over there to get it done. I just don't think Michael Zarafa's got the following and the name over here and the clout. He's got no promoter, remember, so it's not like he's got No Limit behind him or someone like that. So I doubt they'll be able to get the money. Hope they do, but I've just got a feeling that that'll go back to England. I hope he gets the fight. I really do, because I think both of these guys are at similar stages of their career, and it just makes sense that they fight each other. So I'll get to a few other comments there. Yeah, listen along, Pommy. Yeah, hang on. What have I just done there? All right, I'll let you guys. So who cares what people think as long as they are watching? Like someone said to me a long time ago, if you're not making too many enemies, you're not making too much money. Good call, Big J. Yeah, no, it's a good call. And maybe that's an example of me being guilty of maybe listening to outside noise too much. Because I must admit, when I first started this channel, it was more about, well, I'm going to do things my way, and people are either going to watch or they're not going to watch. So maybe I've gone against my own rules there, Big J, but good call. I've got a feeling you don't listen to too many people on your channel. You do things your way. So what do I got there, Glenn? Oh, good one. Yeah, Tony McCallum 1 or 2, amazing skill level. Yep, that could be one for sure. Well, let me know some of the ideas, guys. Hang on, I'm just going out of focus again here. I'm going to move my camera. I think it's this microphone that's upsetting the focus. Yeah, that's my question, Mutsy. What night are you thinking? I'm going to leave that up to you guys, I reckon. It's either got to be probably a Wednesday night, but I was also going to have my little panel show for that one, or you guys coming on. Definitely something on a Wednesday. It's a one night of the week where I don't really have a lot happening. And it's midweek too, with all the football shows and everything like that. So that's a good night. But as I said, might be a Sunday evening, 4, 5 o'clock in the evening. It only goes for an hour. That might be something we might look at as well. Samuel, people may think your watch-alongs are good. I understand you have to work. Don't let people give you a thumb down, give you a hard time. No, it's all good, Samuel. There's always someone that likes to give a thumb down. I think they just do it just to be a pain in the ass and be smart. I'm sort of past all that, mate, and I've actually said to other people that do YouTube channels, if you can't handle a few thumbs down and a few negative comments, well, you shouldn't be doing YouTube. And I'm sure, Pommy, you'd be the same. You got about 10 times as many subscribers as I've got. But I've sort of gotten past that now, and especially in a sport like boxing, there's so many experts out there that think they know everything, and I've got no dramas. I never have of anyone disagreeing with what I have to say or having a different perspective. Just do it in a respectful way. That's the way I do. I'll respectfully disagree with someone, but I've also got or try to have a reason why I disagree. Not that you're wrong and you're a dickhead and you know nothing about it. That's what I don't like. But when they say, no, I disagree and here's why, no dramas. So what else have we got there, guys? I'll keep going there. What's that? Pommy, Samuel, low IQ people, they think YouTube, you'll just break copyright laws. Yeah, with the, about actually watching the event. The amount of people that say, just turn your screen around or your camera around, whatever. No, YouTube's pretty clever that way. So what's this here, mate? Can I insist you in one of my shirts? Is that assist or insist? You insist I want one, or you're going to assist me in getting one? Do you want tackle a bull and wrestle a croc? I do like that saying there, mate. Or a blown up, washed up welterweight. The rewatch along is a great idea. I like tackle a bull and wrestle a croc, Big J. That's what I like. The blown up welterweight thing, I think you've got to be in on the joke to sort of get that. I think if I was walking around and have that on the back of a shirt, people would be going, what's this guy on about? But tackle a bull and wrestle a croc, ... I don't mind that. That's pretty good. Is that a thumbs down, Samuel? Is that for me or Pommy? What do we got here? Drew, I see that some people are now pointing out that Mayweather is opting out of his fight with Pac-Man in the fear of losing his zero. But at 49 years old, who cares about the fight or the result? Yeah, no, I'm sort of with you there, Drew. Look, I'm not really fussed about the fight at all. I know I'm probably one of the few that think this way, but I really don't want Mayweather to lose his record. I just think he's worked too hard to get that 50-0. It's a massive part of his persona and his image and everything like that. And I know a lot of you people think he's a wanker and deserves to lose all his money and lose his record. I understand that. But I'm just to the opposite thinking. I just think he's worked so hard and done such a great job to build that brand of the undefeated TBE brand. There's my first thumbs down. Thank you, whoever that was, whatever. Was that you, Samuel? This whole thing with is it CSI? I think it is. Apparently, he signed on with CSI, took $4.65 million in down payments, and then went with a different promoter and never gave the money back. So he's being sued for that. He's got lawsuits going everywhere. I don't know what's going on, but they reckon that the fight, is it this weekend, might be in a bit of danger with an injunction or something like that. I doubt it. I think it'll be okay. But then they've got the Pacquiao fight in September. So still no real, what are we, 3 months away? There's still no actual 100% confirmation of that fight. There's no, thanks, someone's retracted the thumbs down. Thank you. But there's been no actual date, location, all the rest of it. There's been nothing like that. Hang on. All right. And my thumbs down is back. All right, whatever. I'll move on. I think someone's having a bit of fun with me. But yeah, we'll see. Look, at 49 years of age, I think they've got better things to do with their time and money there, Drew. I can understand that Pac-Man maybe wants another crack at Mayweather, but I certainly don't understand why Mayweather would want a fight with Pacquiao at this stage, apart from the money, because there is a little bit of risk involved. Yeah, Glenn, I did see that Mayweather is broke. There's lots of different rumours going around, Glenn. Mayweather himself said the other day that pretty much along the lines that any publicity is good publicity. I don't know, but how could you blow nearly $1 billion? I know he lost some on the real estate and everything else, but geez, could you physically spend that amount of money? Fair income. It'd be almost impossible, you'd think. Pommy, with the watch-alongs. Every watch-along I do, I cop some clown from America going, why don't you show the game? Yep. Yeah, it's the same with boxing, Pommy. They just say, can you turn it around? And then you get all these people giving you the thumbs down. And I tell you one thing that does happen out of it, though, is you do get a lot of subscribers out of it. I have found some of my big jumps in subscriber counts has been from watch-alongs. You might get 100, 150. I don't know how many of them actually continue to watch it going forward. And I'm not sure, Pommy, with yours in particular, what your ratio is to subscribers to views. Mine's only about 10%, or maybe 15%, 10 to 15% viewership to actual subscribers. So I'd like to maybe get it up to maybe 50%. That'd be great, but it's only at about 10 to 15 at the moment. What have we got there? Oh, okay. Thanks, Pommy. Help you with timestamps if you need some help. Well, I know you're an expert with the whole YouTube thing, mate. What's that? I think the old school rewatches are epic. Sick idea. Also with the expertise, be sick to have how they won. Yeah, no, it's it's a really nice thing you say, Pommy. And I would also think, as a Carlton supporter, I know you've got not much time in your hands because you always spend it on watch-alongs. But I would actually like also in football, in AFL, and maybe someone could do it in NRL or soccer, memorable games. And Pommy, as our resident Carlton expert, how good would it be to go? I'm only using it as an example, guys. This is Carlton, to go back and watch some of those great grand finals and finals games. And I mean, we've had so many great games over the journey. How good would it be to do a rewatch along of, say, the Carlton premierships of years gone by, or the 2007 game against Essendon where we come from 47 points down at half time, and lots of different ones anyway. The 99 preliminary final. So there's an idea for you too, Pommy. A rewatch along of whether it be Carlton games, maybe it's soccer games. I know you're a soccer man as well. Anyway. As what Wednesday works for me, or Sunday. Okay, that's cool. What else have we got going on? So we've got about 20. We've got a few comments to go through. I won't go back to the top now, guys. So if you asked a question at the start, put it in again, because I'm not going to go back to the top. I'm going to keep going down. All right, Glenn, a good idea for watch along is to also give the backstory of the fight, how the fight was made, the build up, etc. Funny you should say that, Glenn. Now, if you go right back in the back catalogue of this channel, this is how we started. We had myself, Grant Tassie Brown, Peter Maniatis, and Mike Altamura was part of it as well. We used to do a show every week called Classic Fights, and this is exactly what we did. Now, we didn't watch the whole fight. We only watched highlights of it. So what we did, and this is what was great about having Mike Altamura and Tassie and Peter on there, because they just know the boxing backwards, frontwards, and sidewards. So what they would do, we'd take it in turns each week of nominating a fight. So say it's Ali and Fraser. We would actually do exactly that, mate. We would do the backstory of the fight, some information that people might not have known, and all the rest of it, which I can do for this as well. And then at the end of it, we'd have a bit of a summation of the whole thing. And one of the best ones we ever did, Glenn, we actually did the Jeff Fennick, Azuma Nelson #1 in Las Vegas, where we had the draw. And we actually had Jeff Fennick on as our special guest, and he did the whole program with us, and he was commenting during the fight as well, which was great. But again, it wasn't the whole fight. It was just highlights of the whole thing. And then it went for about half an hour. So we did a build-up, then we watched about 10 minutes worth of highlights, and then we went into a review of the whole fight. And that was really well received. We did it with Dream Fights as well. So I will do that, Glenn. But that's a really good idea. We might do. We might come up with a fight to start with. We'll get it going. You were talking about Dana with Andrew. You know, we can't finish talking boxing without Dana, but you see Warren saying he already can't promote outside of the zone, so can't promote Netflix cards, which is AJ and Fury. Yeah, well, that seems to be the case explicit. Now, if you didn't see that, Dana can't promote, I think he can be on Netflix, can't he, but not off Paramount for his own stuff with Zuffa. I think if it's associated with Ring, it can be on Netflix, but he can't be on DAZN. Now, to make the fights happen, this is where it's going to get very complicated. Maybe they can do what they did with Mayweather and Pacquiao, where it's on Showtime and HBO. This could maybe be on Paramount or Netflix and DAZN at the same time. But it's going to be interesting. And that's whether Dana actually wants to work in with those other promoters. We'll see. All right, Samuel not pissing in the wind. Let's go, Liam. 100%, Sam. 100%, mate. We've got to get behind Liam Paro, and I think he can do it. Tommy, Was going for a run. So there was going for a run today, listening to Walking Boxing, and heard a car toot. So I gave them a thumbs up, but then realized, it was the horn in your Walking Boxing video. Very embarrassing. I've done that before. I've actually been, because sometimes a lot of the times I'll actually watch it back because I want to see what you guys are seeing and whether I'm talking shit and it looks and sounds stupid. So I'll watch a video, and sometimes I'll be sort of watching it and I'll see a car go past quick, and I'll sort of jump and based on what's going on with the screen. So sometimes I think because I'm watching myself, I think I'm sort of watching reflection back on my phone, and a car goes past really, really fast, and I jump 10 feet in the air. But yeah, that would have been funny, Tommy. All right, Naz, if I get time, mate, I'll go back. Sorry about that. I'll go back to them, mate. Don't worry. I'll skip through these. We all know that the zoos hog the oxygen in the boxing media for obvious reasons. That said, fighters like the Maloneys and Paro should at least get the volume turned up beyond mute level. Yeah, it's look, the thing is, Drew, I got no dramas with Nikita and Tim getting the majority of it. They're a great story. The name, they're promoted so well by their management and the promotional firm. So good on them. It's not about having a crack at the media for getting on the zoos so much. It's like, okay, well, but how about a little bit of love for guys like Andrew Maloney? And to this day, over 2 weeks later, we still haven't had any article in mainstream media about Andrew's win. I'm not saying that they shouldn't write about Tim or Nikita or anyone else. That's news. You got to report it. But can't we get an article about Andrew Maloney? I mean, geez, what was it, 57 years ago, there was 100,000 people lining the streets when Lionel Rose won the world bantamweight title, and we can't even get an article in the mainstream paper about a guy who's gone to Japan and won a world title as well. That's my point. Not having a crack at Tim or Nikita or anyone like that. I mean, Liam Paro, they've earned the right to get their publicity. All I'm saying is, how about a little bit of love for the rest of the guys out there? And Jaya Pataya is starting to get more and more now, but remember back when he won his world title, we got nothing. We're having the same conversation. And I know Andy was too nice to say it earlier, but it's absolute bullshit. It really is. So, and there's no excuse for it. I had Brendan Bradford, not having a crack at, well, maybe I am having a crack at Brendan. Sorry, Brendan, if you're watching. But he commented on our YouTube video that, sorry, I had the weekend off. Well, what happened to Monday morning, mate? Get on there on Monday morning, give Andrew a call and write a bloody story. It's 2 weeks later and still nothing. No excuse. There was an article the other day about the young Muslim girl from the Olympics. A full-on article about her. The fact that she's turning pro. With all due respect to her and good on her, but I don't care. I want to read about Andrew Maloney, who's just won a world title. That's what I'm saying. So everyone's saying I'll sort of get all worked up about it and everything else. No, it's not just because it's Andrew or Jason. It's the fact that we've got an Australian who is the only male world champion that we have, and he's had no media coverage at all. Channel 9 put a little snippet up, and I think Fox Sports might have put something up as well, and that was put on the Herald Sun website. This is in Melbourne. I know what happened in Queensland or New South Wales, but guys, you guys are boxing journalists. How hard would it have been from the Monday or Tuesday? I mean, it was a week before the whole Zoo Spence thing blew up. You got plenty of time to get on it. There's absolutely no reason why you could not do a story on Andrew Maloney, a full-page spread. Give him a call. I'm sure he just came on here for an hour and spoke. You can't ring him for a 15-minute interview. Absolutely piss poor. It really is. Anyway, yes, Andy. Subscribe, share, and smash the like button. All right. What do you got there, Pommy? Consider it done. It's great. Like for me, a lot of them will be first time watching, so almost a live watch along bar. I know the score. Yep. Yeah, well, as I said, maybe great for footy as well. There you go, Big J. Yep. Cowboys and Broncos 2015. I have no idea about that game, but if you do it, Big J, I'll watch along with you, mate. There you go. I don't know anything about NRL. I've never watched a game in my life. A few highlights here or there. I'd take that back. I did watch a fair bit of the State of Origin a couple of weeks ago when we had it on at the pub. We had a really good crowd, and it was a really good night. So, hey, I'd do that. Maybe educate me more. Us Mexicans down here in Victoria who know nothing about the great game up north, educate us, Big J. Maybe I'll put it on my channel and I'll try and work. I won't know the result. I'll watch it. I'll watch it first time like I don't know what's happened, and I'm assuming it's a big game, a good game anyway. What's that, Pommy? If you don't like the stream, may the living Adonis Tommy Fury sign your Mrs. D. Tommy Fury. I will give him one thing, mate. He's certainly got the rig on him, hasn't he? Oh, sorry, mate. Ado. Oh, sorry, I forgot about that. The Monday night rundown. We'll quickly go through it. Where are we? Have I got box rec? Is that it? Hang on. I've just got to bring it up, guys. I'll do a quick rundown of the fights this week. And then we might go a little bit overtime tonight. If you guys are up for it, I'll hang around for a bit longer. Because I've got to go back to a few comments there. All right. So the event this week is so Wednesday night. Is it coming up? Hang on, event. All right, here we go. So obviously, Liam Paro, Lewis Crocker. I'm going to go for our man, Liam Paro, to win a very close, hard-fought decision over Ireland's Lewis Crocker to win that IBF belt. Sorry, guys, it's still loading here. I'll get back to that. Okay, so Pommy, you know about it. What a final. As a Pom, my guilty league pleasure was Johnny Thurston. What a player. Pommy, let us know your man on Wednesday night, George Burgess, is it? How's he going to go? He's flying the English flag. How's he going to go against, I was going to say our man. He's more a New Zealander, isn't he? Sam, what's his name? Nelson Asofa Salamona, Naz. Is he going to get the chocolates? Let us know. What's that there? I hope you're enjoying the miserable weather. Yeah, well, yeah. It's sunny and 28 degrees here in Rocky. I'm assuming that's Rockhampton. I'm coming back in August. I'll bring the sunshine with me, knowing you won't see it for 2 months. It's hasn't been as bad as it normally is this time of year. All right, quick rundown of the Wednesday night card. So Lewis Crocker, Liam Paro. Starting right at the bottom, Stephen Ivic, Caleb Tialu, 4 rounds at heavyweight. I think Ivic will win that. I don't know anything about the other guy, but with the record, you'd think Ivic will get that one. Jack Javed, 1-0 against the G-banger. Lance McDonald, 1-5-1. I suppose I'll guess and go for Javed. We've got Riley Candy, 8-1 in a 5-rounder against Nathan Watson, 11-3. Don't really know too much about those boys off the top of my head, so I won't make a prediction on that one. I can't picture either one of those guys. Vegas Larfield, great to have him back. 13-1. He's in a 5-rounder against Shamal Ram Anuj, who's 11-8. Definitely go for our boy in that one, Vegas Larfield. Great name too, by the way, Vegas. We've got Luke Modini against Peng Q, 13-0. Peng Q is 17-1. I'm going to back Luke Modini by knockout in that one. Dempsey McKean, 24-2 against Liam Talivaha, 8-2. I'm going to go with Dempsey McKean. What is it, a 10-rounder? I'm going to go with a 7th or 8th round stoppage in that one. And then we've got the rugby league boys. I don't know anything about George Burgess. Not overly wrapped in Naz. Apart from having a really big punch, doesn't really offer a lot. I'm just going to go with a hunch. Just from what I've seen from George Burgess so far, very limited stuff on pads and that sort of stuff. If you can withstand the first round onslaught from Solomona, I'm going to go with George Burgess by knockout in that one. And then that is the whole card there, I think, isn't it? Yep, that is the whole card. So I hope I've run down that well enough there, Ado. What else we got there? Drew. Javonte Davis, potential fight with Schofield is apparently in jeopardy. It is, Drew. Oscar De La Hoya said they're going to move on from that fight. Davis avoided him early in Loma's career, and Loma retired before they were in deep negotiations that make the fight now. Well, Javonte Davis has got to get himself together, Drew. Oscar De La Hoya did say they were going to move on from, with Schofield, and move on from Javonte Davis. Is our champion in recess, so they're trying to get Schofield the full belt, and then the winner will fight Davis after that, possibly. So, and with Loma around the corner there as well, back in the mix, who knows what's going to happen with him as well. So, what a fight that'd be, though, Davis and Loma. That is the fight. What's that there, Big J? Thurston wasn't fit to tie Cameron Smith's boots. Okay. All right, what do you got there, Pommy? Did you see Warren's interview on TalkSport? Pretty much dodged the Dana promotion question. I did see that. Kept saying he's not just Tyson's promoter, he's also his business partner. Yeah, it's interesting, wasn't it? Because he also said he had absolutely no issues with the whole arrangement with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury did say he was going to be promoted by Turki Al Sheikh, and I suppose in conjunction with Dana White, although it hasn't been made official for the rest of his career. I'm surprised he did say that. He said, no, I'm more than happy with the arrangement and my deal with Tyson Fury, and because the rumor was, of course, he was going to announce he was with Zuffa and Dana White and everything else. So, yeah, really puzzling one, that one. But I expected Frank Warren to be a little bit more fired up than that, and maybe he knows something we don't. Yeah. Joe, the media would write about Andrew if he painted his nails or turned Muslim. Yeah, well, maybe, mate. Maybe. Who knows? If you're watching Andrew, maybe that's a ploy. Maybe he just needs to go over to Misfits or something. That'll get him some publicity. Get on. Maybe he needs to. I know what it is. He needs to follow Lance McDonald's lead and get the G-banger on, I reckon, Andrew. That'll do the job. All right. Explicit Andy Bowen and Jack Burt fights that lasted 7 hours was on film. I would have recommended that. Sorry, mate. There's no way I'm on here for 7 hours. Is that right? 7 hours. Wow. All right. I'm going to quickly go back up to the top for Naz, Tom's dad, Naz, because he had a couple of good comments. I have to scour through them a bit. All right. All right. All right. I'll start with this one. They're out of order, I think. So, Jay McAllister interviewed Bedell. This is Peter Bedell last night. Asked about Paro, Tim, what's next for Jai and Nikita, but not one mention of the bloke who's just done us so proud and won a title overseas. Gives me the shits. I'm with you, Naz. Can you believe that? Our only male world champion and doesn't even get a mention in the talks last night. So it wasn't last night. It was with the interview with Jay. Yes, well, in that instance, I have got a few comments there, mate. I'll quickly get through them. Yeah, I know maybe Peter Bedell, it sort of was an oversight, but I would have thought Jay McAllister would have picked him up and said, okay, you've mentioned the others. What are your thoughts on Andrew? So, Jay, if you're watching, mate, got to pick up the form, mate. You got to remember there's a few other fighters in Australia besides the No Limit boys. Jeez, mate, I'm going to have to pick and choose these ones here, mate. What do you got there? Apologies for so many comments. All right. Remember when that Prime card with Jamal and Plant was on and everyone in Australia was saying, who cares? But now that Jamal is coming here, he's all of a sudden some superstar world beater. He is. And that's if he gets here, Naz, because the word is he's been arrested on some count. So if he is convicted or faces some sort of felony over there, then they won't let him into Australia. So not sure that'd be great for Colin Mazzutia. All right. The only negative for Tim's card is that it has no real significance internationally outside of PBC. Winner probably gets Jamal, and Jamal probably still hoping for the Plant fight payday. Probably. Well, yeah, I think Jamal. I think we all know what it is. It's just to get him a comeback fight. And again, I'm not trying to be too negative about the whole situation, but I really can't see how Colin Mazzutia is competitive against Jamal. But let's hope I'm wrong. All right. So, Naz, I love the Tim Spence card and happy to pay for it. No rugby players. Can't wait to see what Stephen is. I think Andy called him Stefan. I didn't know. I thought I've always called him Stephen. He called him Stefan. All right. I'd like to, his gear after his shorts and work boots effort. That was pretty cool actually. When he looked like he had the jeans on and the jean shorts and the work boots. And to see if Charlo still has that jab. Yeah, it's a great jab to Naz. Who's going to Paro and Crocker? I'm going to try and get there, Eminem. I know it's 2 days away, by the way, but you never know. We'll see. I might be onto a ticket. If I get a ticket, I've got a few frequent flyer points I might use to get up there. Ray Lee, I watched a clip of Tim sparring in Thailand. I hope his team has organised more elite sparring partners. No doubt Spence will for his comeback fight. Yeah, that's the only worry I've got, Ray Lee. Yeah, that's the only thing I've got some doubts about is the sparring, but we'll put our faith in Jeff Fennick. What do you got there, Bill? I hate that a mixed immigrant soccer team makes news for being thrashed, but nothing about our new Aussie breed world champion. Yeah, well, I'm sure there's a few people feel the same way there, mate. I'll go to the bottom here and get a few more comments before we go. Where are we? Sorry. Almost to the end here. All right, here we go. Drew. Hang on, Glenn first. Nelson doesn't have a chin. He was wobbly several times in his last fight. Well, he looked bloody atrocious, Glenn. And I know I'm probably being a little bit hard on a guy who's had 2 fights. But that's what I'm saying. If this George Burgess, if he keeps himself tight, keeps the chin down, and doesn't get caught into one of these types of things where the chin goes up in the air and it's just a free-for-all, he'll get knocked out. But my advice to George, it's only, what is it? It's only a 4-rounder, isn't it? So maybe he hasn't got enough time to do that. But I was just going to say, maybe you spend a round or two being nice and tight, focusing on defense more than anything, and then letting Solomona punch himself out and then go for it. Who knows? You might still be able to do that. It's a 4-rounder, but last time Solomona was buggered after 2 rounds. Maybe just keep tight, let himself punch himself out, and then pour it on. Because I reckon you could definitely get him out of there, Glenn. All right, Drew. I had a fantasy matchup chat with a mate, and we discussed Mike Tyson versus Joe Fraser, prime for prime, if the best versions of themselves fought. I have Tyson KO5. Your prediction, please. Ooh, prime for prime. Now we're talking about the Joe Fraser that beat Ali. The interesting thing though with Drew is Mike Tyson at his prime was probably the Spinks fight. And that's when he was, 21 years of age or 22 years of age. Just crazy. So he was probably 6 years away from his peak. But of course, with everything that happened in his career, we never actually saw that. So we can only go by that. So I'm going to go with the Tyson that knocked out Spinks against the Fraser that beat or knocked down and beat Muhammad Ali. I'm going to go Joe Fraser, Drew. I think only talking styles here. I think with the style of Fraser, with his bobbing and weaving and getting in close to Mike Tyson, I think he would be able to he'd be able to go with Tyson. That was the thing with a lot of Tyson's opponents. They couldn't cope with the speed. They couldn't cope with the work rate. They couldn't cope with the inside shots and being a lot smaller. You remember Tyson would get down low and come up with uppercuts and hooks against those bigger guys, and he might slip a punch and then come back with a big hook or uppercut. You wouldn't be able to do that with Joe Fraser. So I've got a feeling that they will be obviously head-to-head the whole fight. I think that I'm not sure whether Mike Tyson will be able to get off with the uppercuts and hooks against Joe Fraser, who will be bobbing and weaving and throwing his own shots. And I just think Joe Fraser's consistent work rate will be too much for Mike. Because you've got to remember too, when Mike was fighting the bigger guys, he would throw and they would continually try and tie him up. If they got close, they'd tie him up where he could rest. He would do his punching and then he would almost allow himself to be tied up and he would get himself back together and then he'd go again. Joe Fraser would fight him head to head, would not allow Mike Tyson any seconds break. And I think that's the crux of the whole thing. I think Joe Fraser's work rate or his ability to not get hit with those big shots. And even if he did get hit by a big shot from Mike Tyson, I think the way he crouches down, he's got the thick neck, he was a big guy. I think he'd be able to take Mike Tyson's shots with the way he fought. You got to remember, a lot of those big guys would fight tall with the chin in the air, so they'd be open for those big uppercuts and hooks coming at him. Joe Fraser being small, compact, nice and tight, I don't think those shots would have the same effect on Joe, and I think his work rate would wear Mike Tyson down, and I think he could stop Mike Tyson in maybe 9 or 10 rounds there, Drew. And that's a big call for me because I've always thought Mike Tyson goes with any heavyweight in history at his peak. I know he gets a lot of flack, does Mike Tyson. A lot of people really go after him as far as his achievements and where he ranks in boxing history. But I think he easily goes with any heavyweight in history at his peak, and that was when he fought Spinks, Carl the Truth Williams, and Frank Bruno, and those types of guys. So, but I think in this instance here, I think Joe Fraser outworks him and stops him in 9 or 10 rounds. There you go, Glenn. You agree? And the heart. I didn't even mention the heart. There's no way that Mike Tyson's going to break Joe Fraser down and break his heart and get him out of there. No way. So we've got a couple of comments there. And he says, don't paint your nails. Don't go there. Yep. All right, Drew. Dana can't possibly have his greatest efforts in the boxing while he still has an obvious foot in UFC. Apart from the money aspect, how could you possibly put your trust in Zuffa and Dana? I wouldn't, Drew, in one aspect. But, yeah, the money's a big thing. And I sort of understand that Jai was probably getting a little bit impatient and just thought, well, I'm going to go and get the big money. Conor Ben was the same. But, yeah, you could hear Andrew talk before. There's no way he would consider it because he just values that belt so much. So, Yeah, no worries, Glenn. All right, Andy, I got Iron Mike over Fraser, to be honest, but might be a case of he who lands flush first wins. Yeah, maybe. Shadow Boxer, Fraser's got 5 times the heart of Tyson. Yeah, it was one thing I suppose was one of the faults on Mike Tyson, wasn't it? Is the fact that when it got really tough in the trenches in there, he would wilt. But I don't know, just they were more later in his career, I reckon. I mean, that fight with Buster Douglas, I know it was the biggest upset in boxing history, but I thought Mike Tyson showed a ton of heart in that fight. I know he wasn't prepared properly physically and mentally and everything else, and took the fight easy, but he copped an absolute battering in that fight. He really did, and I thought he showed a ton of heart to hang in there. And when he got knocked down in the end and knocked out, I mean, it took a lot to get him down, and he was doing everything he possibly could to get up. So that's why I dispute everyone that says he had no heart. Later on in his career, I've got no doubt that it got a little bit too hard for him, but I think it was at the point then when he just wasn't in love with boxing anymore. He didn't want to fight. He was only fighting for the money and because he was Iron Mike and everything else. And I think that played a big part. I just don't think his heart was in it, which is why I won't say he quit, but he didn't show the same amount of heart that he did against Douglas. And that was probably the only fight he ever really had some duress in. And maybe the first Holyfield fight as well. He took an absolute battering in that fight as well. And he was stopped on his feet in that fight as well. He was still fighting back. So, yeah, I sort of take exception to people that say he had no heart, because I just think he did early, but later in his career, like a lot of fighters, they just lose heart. They lose the love for the sport. Look at someone like Sugar Ray Leonard as well. The last couple of fights he had as well, you could tell his heart wasn't in it, but he's another guy that showed a ton of heart through his career. But those last couple of years, you could just see it wasn't there anymore. And that's the way I sort of liken Mike Tyson as well to him. Eminem, I'll be at the fights on Wednesday night. I'll keep my eyes peeled for you. No worries, mate. Sounds good. That's if I get. I might have a ticket. I was offered one today, so I'll see if I can make it work. I'll have to go up on the day of the fight though and come back first thing the next morning. But hey, it's only a 2-hour flight, isn't it? So we'll see. But I'll be at the Zoo Spence fight as well up there as well. So all good. Last one from Glenn, 1970s George Tyson. I can't see Mike winning that. No. George Foreman wins that in my book too there, Glenn. The 1970s version for sure. Yeah, I think so. Big, strong, yeah. And those big uppercuts coming through. Woof, big shots back in the day. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week. I hope you enjoyed the interview with Andrew Maloney. Thanks again to Andrew for coming on. Really appreciate that. Make sure you look out for Walking Boxing of a morning. Of course, it's normally up by about 11:30, somewhere in that sort of time frame. And then keep a lookout for the re-watch along and some other stuff we've got going on as well. Now I'm starting to get a little bit more time to do it. So, guys, thanks again for tuning in. Have a great week, and we'll catch you next Monday night on Talking Boxing.